I'm Andrew Levine, the CEO of Koinos Group, inventors of Koinos, the feeless blockchain with proof-of-burn decentralization, which recently achieved a major milestone in the release of the third and final version of the testnet. V3 is the culmination of nearly 2 years of hard work by the blockchain engineering team to complete the first truly feeless blockchain framework with infinite upgradability and universal programming language support built atop a microservice architecture. One of the additions to Koinos featured in V3 is the most flexible authority system ever. I recently had a conversation with blockchain architect Michael Vandeberg, in which he gives a brief history of blockchain authority systems, followed by an explanation of why the Koinos authority system could be a paradigm shift on par with the very invention of smart contracts.
Ethereum's big innovation was the smart contract, which has been absolutely massive for the industry, right? I don't think you can overstate the impact that it has had. For a long time, smart contracts were primitive. People were just kind of like creating the things that you could have done with Bitcoin, but on Ethereum. Like, oh yeah, we can create new tokens now. Awesome. Oh, we can kind of start to trade these tokens. Like, they started out primitive, but then you get more and more complex smart contracts as people realize what you can actually do with them. And we get on-chain ICOs, we get DeFi, we got all these new industries that are popping up when people truly grasp what the smart contract is capable of. Steam and then EOS have hierarchical threshold multisigs that I also got from BitShares. And simply the ability to allow users to update their permissions, to permission different apps in different ways, I think it's very innovative. It's very useful. It puts more freedom in the hands of the user to manage their own security, but those systems are structured and like they're part of the protocol, they're put in place, they're not changing. I think it's a paradigm shift now that with the authorized system, rather than prescribe this is how account authorization works, it allows the user to specify how it's going to work via uploading of this endpoint or this entry point on their contract. That also allows, because an account is a contract, that's a little, so for people that are coming from Ethereum, it's a different model. When you will upload a contract on Ethereum, it creates a new address for that contract. On Koinos, when you upload a contract, it is the same address as your address. For the perspective of having an autonomous contract, you can copy the Ethereum semantics by uploading a contract and then having that contract in its authorized overrides specify that it can't be uploaded again. So you can have immutable contracts, but it's still like the same address. So the user is the contract is the user. From the system perspective, there is no difference between those two things. It allows the user to do whatever they want with how they authorize their actions. But because it allows the user to do that, it also allows a contract to do that, which means a contract can specify this is how my actions that are like taken on my behalf on other things are authorized and it's done in a smart contract, which means the state of the smart contract can actually influence that. So it's not that hard to even conceive of a DAO that can make actions on behalf of itself based on input from the token holders of that DAO. It's allowing the contract to act more intelligently and to have the inputs from the users more directly affect how that contract is interacting with the rest of the ecosystem. That's why I say I think it's going to be a slow burn, because I can see the beginnings of it, but I'm not even sure how exactly I would do that or how it would interact. But I think there's a paradigm shift in when using Koinos and how you think about the smart contract and the user, their relation with one another, as well as what does it mean to authorize an action on the blockchain. And so I'm very excited about the feature, and sort of the more I think about it, I come up with more things, but it's just sort of like there's so much you could potentially do, right? It's a smart contract, it's executable code, which means effectively you can do anything with it, that it's hard to nail down what we should do with it. And so I think in the same way that we saw Ethereum smart contracts start more simply and sort of replicate the behaviors we've already seen on other blockchains. So how do we do multi-sig and things like that, like simple contracts that do the things that people are already comfortable with. That's exactly what we'll see. Like absolutely the first systems that should be built on top of the authorized system are replicating multi-sig, hierarchical threshold multi-sig, different signature schemes. Like we should get the things that already exist on other chains implemented using the system. But I think once we do that, people will start to have a better understanding of how it works and what it's capable of. And just like Ethereum saw the rise of ICO and DeFi, we'll see a whole new class of authorization algorithms pop up that are utilizing this and do way cooler, more interesting things that we can't even think about.
A lot of this has to do with the maturity of the ecosystem. And it's probably not the case that when Ethereum first launched, you could have this degree of freedom on a general purpose blockchain. But we now have 10 years, whatever, of experience and knowledge. And so now the time is right to just open up.
This would have been too much, probably. But even when you look at, Ethereum, like if someone had launched a Uniswap right away with Ethereum, it would have been too soon. We weren't ready for Uniswap, right? But when Uniswap came out, it was a game changer, right? And so there's a natural progression both in the industry as a whole of how are we going to use this stuff? How do we generalize? You don't want to ever bite off more than you can chew. So I don't disparage Ethereum for not trying something like this. That there's plenty of other innovation in what Ethereum's doing. You cannot critique Ethereum for not being innovative enough. It's just, you're wrong. But, we learn from those that come before us, and we need to continue to innovate.
I hope you enjoyed the discussion. If you'd like to actually run Koinos, we've made it insanely easy to be up and running a node in just 5 minutes. Follow the link in the description below, and thanks for watching.